Hey, Vinny Melkus Outdoors. We're finally getting to that boat job. It's, it's been interesting. I've been really sick again with pneumonia now. Got over that now. But anyway, we're going to jump into this. I'll show you like some of the common failure points on this thing, because you don't even think about your tow strap all that much until it's, too late. I've had tow straps fail on me in the past. I think I mentioned that. Luckily, I had a smaller boat. This, boat here is a larger one. I'd hate to have it fail on me. And after almost 10 years of service, being out in all kinds of weather, and sometimes having, not the best lawn situations, things just happen, things break, things deteriorate over that amount of time. There's a few other things I got to do on the trailer. You'll probably see in the video as I replace this thing or I take it off. But we'll get to that later. Right now, we're doing servicing a trailer strap, which I haven't seen anybody really do because it's not something you think of. There are some that have, we'll go over it, they have enclosures that kind of prevent some of the UV damage on the strap, those are good if you want to spend the money. My trailer came with an exposed one, which I think a lot of people's trailers do. But even if you have one that's enclosed, over a span of 10 years or so, things degrade, because sometimes you get some, and I'll show you the wear pattern on it. Sometimes it ratchets up a little bit on the side and you get that wear and tear on the strap, and eventually that frays, and that's not good. That's how mine not exploded, but tore when I had that failure in a remote area as well. But so we'll go through that. I'll show you that. And then if you do have an exposed one, which you'll see, UV light deteriorates that over time as well. So it's just one other thing. And those are usually the cheaper ones. You can get them from anywhere $60 to $90. And this one's going on my Phoenix 721. So I'll show you that, the ratings on them. And so let's get into it. I'm going to freeze my junk off here doing this. And I might not talk very much. So I'm just going to show you this, talk afterwards, just because the wind is bad, and trying to get good audio when you have pretty bad wind is just, it's not ideal. All right, here it is. There, where? There. The Fulton XLT, that's what came on my Phoenix 721 back in the day, 2014, almost 10 years ago. This is the exact one. I found it on a deal on Amazon for like $60 to replace this thing. It's pretty heavy. And let's pull this out of the package here. I don't know. It came out like that. So I'll show you on the old one. But this baby right here, oops, no. I mean, it comes disassembled. But that strap right there, over time, these straps, UV light, just general degradation, if you're just off just a little bit in this groove, it hits the edges. You do that over a number of years, you start getting nicks and frays, and you start losing some of the integrity in the winch strap. Now, this one's actually beefed up one. Mine, the max line pull capacity, which you have here on the side here, was 1,400 pounds. This one's actually 1,500 pounds. So it's the same one, but they must have beefed it up slightly. Or, I don't know, maybe they changed the ratings. Who knows? But anyway, so that's it. We're going to go take the old one off and see what we need to do to slap on this bad dude. So, anyway, we're going to go outside, brave the cold, to take off the old one.
Holder, winches. Okay. Down here. Nothing like dropping a bolt. Always do that. Alright, where'd you go?
Drop that bolt. I'll find it later.
Ta-da. Pretty simple, 3 bolts. Nothing to it. Go back inside, grab the new one real quick. Nut. It's actually a 19. Here's an 18. Fit. It's a 19. Good to go. Last thing is to release this a little bit. Latch it on there, straighten everything out. Put this back up. Should be good. Bada boom, bada bing.
So we've installed our trailer winch. Things good to go. You've seen that. And if you're interested, I used for my particular one, I believe it's a 14 millimeter socket for the bolts that go that strap this in onto the trailer, and then for this bolt here for the handle was a 19 millimeter. I thought it was 18. I'd seen the video. It went over it, and then turned out it was a 19. No big deal. But now I wanted to go over, this is probably the most important part to me, is the post-mortem on this thing, which is roughly, this boat was manufactured in 2013. So we're pushing 9, almost 10 years. So this is the original winch off of that, and as you see here, it's weathered. It's been around. I've been around all over the country with this boat, from Florida to California to Montana to Arizona, Texas, literally everywhere and in between. So this boat has seen some miles, the trailer's seen some action and some very precarious ramps. And one of the things, I guess the critical point failure point of these is not necessarily the gear system is usually pretty solid and it stays good. And I've noticed that the gearing inside is still pretty much, you know, as good as you'd expect for this time, for this amount of usage, because I use my boat more than the average guy. Anyway, so then here is where the critical vulnerability is this thing right here, this strap, and you can see where it has wore out, and this is why I replaced it, is because I've had these fail. Once you get these little frays in here, it's just a matter of time. Then bam, once. And I had it, luckily it was on a lighter boat. I think I mentioned it already, probably earlier in this video. And I had to tie it because there was a quasi medical emergency. So not really, but anyway, tied the strap just to get it back into town. And it wasn't the greatest thing. If it was a larger boat, it might have, you know, had some issues there. But anyway, so the strap is the number one, and you can see where it happens. And it just so happens sometimes when you're cranking this thing down, the strap gets just a hair every once in a while. It's just off to a little bit of the side, and just over and over again, or even, you know, whatever, it's just not quite lined up, it tends to fray. And he talked about UV degradation on this. You can see here the discoloration from one side to the other. That's a, you know, extended amount of sun exposure. It happens. If you have a closed-in one, that kind of mitigates that a little bit. But, you know, this is your standard XLT Fulton. Comes on a lot of boats. If you can get the enclosed one, it'll help out on that. It's still, you're going to have to keep an eye on the strap, just barely touching it. It just doesn't have to touch much with that kind of tension on it from the boat, and it just, you know, frays and frays and frays over a number of years of usage. The other thing is, you know, being, you know, launching on Lake Mead currently and all these other places, sometimes the trailer doesn't line up well, and these things can get, or you have to winch your boat, or God forbid, I mean, I was going to say this thing hits, it doesn't hit, but just over and over again, winching the boat instead of getting your boat fully on the trailer and being able to just lock it in and barely turn this handle. So various ramps lead to other issues. You have to utilize this thing. Well, over the years, there's some weak points in here, and that's just from whatever, and this is one of them. These little clips, you can see it's just held here, this plastic is just held in here by a couple of little clips. Granted, that's fixable. It's not a big deal. It's not operationally defective, but it just so happens after, like I said, a number of years of UV exposure and just various, you know, things that happen to trailers, and having the winch on this thing happens. The little black thing on here, and I believe there's a cap here, you know, it's gone. There's a stress crack, as you can see from the plastic. This doesn't affect it operationally. It just looks wise. It just stinks. These plastic housings, like I said, you can see the wear on this thing, and it just, after almost 10 years, it happens. Being in the sun, like I said, UV degradation on some of this plastic, or at least discoloration, and just makes it a little bit more brittle. But anyway, that's it. So hopefully the video shows you a little bit on how to install it if you're going to install one yourself. And like I said, 14, 19 millimeter on this Fulton. That's what it took for my 19 on this, 14 on the 3 bolts that go on this deal. Other thing is, you saw me on the last bit of the video, I just took the tension out. You can wait, and wait till you get to the boat ramp and launch, and then just take that tension out there. It might be a little more effective, but I just do it here, and then when I get out there, I take even more so when you get that strain of the boat, and then you should be good to go for hopefully another 10 years, or the next owner of the boat that I have. Anyway, appreciate your time. Like, subscribe. That is one aspect of, you know, some of the maintenance side of things on the boat. The next thing we're going to do is just a few little things on the trailer. That way we can get on the water. I want to get on the water. It's wintertime. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Fish consolidate. Some big fish move up, especially when you start getting really sunny days, and you have those big females that come up there in sun, because they're starting to create eggs. You know, the eggs are developing within inside them, so you can get some big fish up shallow. You also can get some really good fish deep, big schools, throwing things that I like to throw. It seems like it's now really popular to throw blade baits. That's what I love, throwing blade baits and stuff like that. But anyway, talk to you later. Peace.